Hi, and welcome to Solidity Magazine TV. I'm Rachel B. Kaplan. I'm a yoga teacher of 14 years and counting. I also hold a degree in clinical nutrition, and I've been a health and wellness enthusiast my entire life. I feel so privileged to share my knowledge and passion about health with all of you. My vision for this show, Higher Health Now with Rachel, is for you to have a place where you can find your definition of health and self-love, and ultimately tap into your true self. I'd like to start by saying, let's connect. Please find me on Facebook as Rachel B. Kaplan, or friend request me on Facebook, or you can also follow my Instagram handle at higher_health. I respond to both IG message or Facebook Messenger. And also take down my email address, rachel@higherhealthnow.com. If at any point during today's episode or any point during this season, and you have questions specifically for me, or you're going through your own challenges and you want to ask me questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm really excited to meet you and connect. All right, let's get into today's episode. It's going to be a juicy one. Today is going to be about stress management and self-care, because really the only relationship that really matters is the one with yourself. Okay, so let's talk about stress. We deal with it on a regular basis. We hear about it all the time. It's in the news, we read about it in magazines, and we see it talked about online. Your doctor may even talk to you about controlling your stress. But is it really a big deal? Sneeze on the truth. Stress is the definition of stress, which I looked up in Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is a physical, chemical, or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension and may be a factor in disease causation. Now, I was actually pleasantly surprised to find this definition included the less obvious result of stress, which can in fact be disease. Not that I'm happy that stress causes disease, but I think most people don't realize the huge impact it can have on our health. The definition went on to show examples of using the word stress in a sentence, which was also appropriate for today's episode. Hormones are released into the body in response to emotional stress. So as you probably guessed, the answer to the question, is stress a big deal, is yes, if you care about your health, which if you're watching this, I'm going to assume that you do. So let's talk about what happens in your body. So when you encounter a perceived threat, a large dog barks at you during your morning walk, for instance, your hypothalamus, which is a tiny region that's located at the base of your brain, sets off an alarm system in your body. Through a combination of nerve and hormonal signals, the system prompts your adrenal glands, which sit atop your kidneys, to release a surge of hormones, including adrenaline and cortisol. Now, adrenaline increases your heart rate, elevates your blood pressure, and boosts energy supplies. Cortisol, which is the primary stress hormone, increases sugar glucose in the bloodstream, enhances your brain's use of glucose, and increases the availability of substances that repair tissues. Now, cortisol also curbs functions that would be non-essential or detrimental in a fight or flight situation. It alters immune system responses and suppresses the digestive system, the reproductive system, aka your sex drive, and your growth processes. So this complex natural alarm system also communicates with the regions of your brain that control your mood, your motivation, and fear. The long-term activation of the stress response system and the subsequent overexposure to cortisol and other stress hormones can disrupt almost all of your body's processes. And this is sourced from the Mayo Clinic. So here's the risk, right? The long-term activation of the stress response system and the subsequent overexposure to cortisol and other stress hormones can disrupt almost all of your body's processes. This puts you at an increased risk of numerous health problems, including anxiety, depression, digestive problems, heart disease, sleep problems, weight gain, memory, and concentration impairment. Some other negative effects of chronic stress can be nutrient deficiencies as a result of decreased nutrient absorption, right? Reduced gut flora, which is the good bacteria, increased levels of cortisol, which can inhibit weight loss, lowering metabolism and increasing fat storage, and increased oxidative stress, which actually causes premature aging. So, the resulting hormonal imbalances, so involving specifically cortisol and insulin, and chronic low-grade inflammation can set the stage for the development of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, some forms of cancer, and other chronic diseases. Chronic stress can also make you more susceptible to colds, flus, and other infections. And physical stress disrupts physiological homeostasis in a number of ways, including the hormonal and inflammatory pathways that may affect your energy levels in a negative way. The effects of stress can also affect your state of mind, impairing your working memory and your ability to control your impulses. It also increases the risk of anxiety and depression. In addition, unbridled stress can sap your energy and undermine your motivation and resolve to make or stick with a healthy lifestyle change. So, in fact, research from the University of California, I just lost my place. In fact, so research from the University of California, San Francisco found that people who reported higher levels of stress had a greater drive to eat, including disinhibited eating, binge eating, hunger, more ineffective attempts to control their eating, and all of which can promote weight gain. And that actually is from Dr. David Katz, who's the author of Disease Proof. So stress, how is it affecting you? Did you realize that stress could wreak, or did you know that stress can actually wreak so much havoc on your body? It's pretty incredible, right? So now that we know it can negatively affect many bodily processes, including digestion, nutrient absorption, hormones, blood pressure, appetite control, aging, memory, we can put it towards the top of our list of things to address. It's not realistic to eliminate all stress from our lives, of course, but there are plenty of things we can do to minimize it. And the first step is deciding that it's important enough to do. Children learn from our example. And I think the hectic pace that we live in is setting them up for duplicating this pattern and thinking it's perfectly normal and okay. So some common causes of stress, relationships, divorce, disagreements, new marriage, career, there's work-related stress or working too much, change of job, finances, disagreements, credit card debt, loss of job, your health or family members' health, caring for others, illness, death, home environment, family issues, disagreements, needing help, moving, and of course, birth. Some diet stressing, right? Binge eating out all the time, continuous dieting with no results. Then there's lifestyle stress, overtraining, exercising too much, random stressful situations like traffic, overscheduling too many things on your calendar. The causes are endless. And I think oftentimes we minimize the amount of stress we're under because we aren't even fully conscious of it. I've been guilty of this myself. It's easy sometimes to take on too much. And when we do, we often end up with a schedule that is way too busy find ourselves running in circles and feel like we're not getting much accomplished. And this stresses us out even more. We ultimately pay the price with relationship issues, poor diet, health and time management issues, or worse. We're going to cover some ideas to help reduce stress, but the first thing I'd like to address is probably the most important thing you can do starting today. It's simple. You already do it every day, but once you do more of it and you do it consistently, you're going to notice a huge difference in how you feel. So what's the solution? Get more sleep. So how is getting enough sleep going to help with stress? You may be surprised. You've heard people say that sleep is overrated, or is it? So here's another quote from Dr. David Katz, who wrote the book Disease Proof. But I love this quote. So, inadequate slumber over extended periods of time may interfere with immune function, including production of white blood cells and hormonal regulation, which is why sufficient sleep is linked with chronically elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol. This also leads to impaired immunity and elevated levels of hormones such as insulin, increasing the risk of gaining body fat, most often in the midsection, and of developing systemic inflammation and type 2 diabetes. It also leads to changes in the hormone leptin and ghrelin, which regulate hunger and satiety. So, number one, make sleep a priority and schedule 8 hours. So, including in today's episode are going to be suggestions on how you can improve your sleep, but the first one is making it a big enough priority and actually scheduling out 8 hours to make sure that it happens. This means planning ahead. So if you need 8 hours of sleep and you have to be up by 6, you need to be ready for bed by 10 p.m., right? So if you're saying, but I can't, I have way too much to do, you should know that insufficient sleep decreases productivity. So by getting enough sleep, you can actually get more done in less time and feel better while you're doing it. Here's an all too common scenario. Let's say you get to bed too late, and when it's time to wake up, your alarm goes off and you're still tired and you hit the snooze button one too many times. Now you're running late. There's no time for a decent breakfast, much less time for packing a healthy lunch to take with you. You leave the house hungry and tired and arrive at work. The only food available is whizzing through a drive-through, something in a vending machine, the donuts someone else brought into the office, or worse, you just have time to grab some coffee. Now you're dragging all day with low energy because this is not the first night this week you haven't had enough sleep. Somewhere between 2 and 3 p.m., you're ready to crash. So you grab the closest thing you can find with sugar to keep you going a little longer. And you may grab another cup of coffee. You leave work way too tired to stop at the gym to exercise or have the incentive to go for a walk when you go home. You grab a quick, highly processed snack to get you through until dinner. I mean, does this sound familiar to you? So if this pattern is repeated often enough over the course of weeks or months, you can imagine where this is going to lead us. Many of us are operating this way on a regular basis. It's stressful and it's wreaking havoc on us in every possible way. It may have started as a result of a particular event or a short-term project, but then became a habit. However, the more we become aware of the things we do that have us on the road to depleting our health, the easier it is going to be to make a change. So let's talk about scenario number 2. Imagine this. Let's imagine that you get 7 to 9 hours of sleep and you sleep straight through. You wake up rested, refreshed, ready to take on the day. You hop out of bed, drink your water, have a healthy breakfast, arrive at work on time, relax, and feeling productive. You have a balanced, healthy lunch that gives you sustained energy for the rest of the afternoon. No mid-afternoon crash, no snacks or coffee are needed or craved. You've either worked out before you got to work or you have the energy to work out after. You go home, you're happy to make a balanced, healthy dinner and enjoy time with your family. You still feel good. You get to bed by 10 or the latest 11, so you get in the amount of sleep needed. Now that's a great day. Do you see how the way you wake up each morning affects your entire day? It all starts with how rested you are when you wake up, and that depends on the amount and quality of sleep you get. When you are fully rested, it also allows us to handle stress better. Adequate sleep helps us recover from stress too. When we're asleep, our bodies have a chance to rest, repair, detox, and recover. Even though sleep may seem to be a passive and dormant state, there is so much activity going on in the brain during different sleep cycles that affect different needs of the body and the mind. Without sufficient time for these things, we run into problems and our health and emotional state can suffer. So evaluation time. Let's look at some areas of your life that are causing you stress. What are some ways you can reduce it? For example, look at your calendar and see what you have going on each day in the coming month. If you and your spouse and your kids are completely overbooked, is there a solution? Maybe this means taking a step down from certain obligations or activities. Perhaps working at a carpool would be helpful for some things. Don't let your schedule run you. Decide how you can run your schedule. It may mean making some changes or adjustments and possibly eliminating some commitments. You may even need to ask for help. In the long run, freeing up your schedule to decrease stress is worth it. You can have a family meeting to figure out solutions that may work for everyone. It doesn't have to be all up to you to decide. It's okay to delegate. What do you really want for your life? Is your schedule a reflection of that? And if not, are there changes that you can make? Are you running your schedule or is your schedule running you? So learning how just to say no. Here's a tip. Learn how to say yes right away and know that it's okay to say no. People can have a hard time saying no when they're asked to help with something. Yes, it is important for everyone to have a way to contribute, but it becomes a problem when you're overextended, especially when you end up dreading your commitment, find yourself run ragged, or don't have enough time for your family, or worse, yourself. A great idea is to reply with something like, "Thanks for asking. Let me check my schedule and get back to you." This way, you don't have to say no, and you'll have time to see if this fits your schedule or not. Stay firm, evaluate your time, your commitments, and your highest values. If you have the time and you want to do it, then great. But if not, you can let the person know that as much as you'd like to help right now, you're not able to. We've looked at common causes of stress and the number one way to deal with it, which is getting enough sleep. This is also a good time to go back and look at your priorities and goals worksheet. Many times, stress is caused when our priorities are not aligned with how you're spending your time. I have a life balance worksheet. So if that's something that you want, please reach out to me. Please email me and I will email you the life balance worksheet so you can take a look at that and ways of how you're currently spending your time and how that lines up with your life priorities. When you become clear on your priorities, decisions are a bit easier to make. So, where do you do your best thinking or get your best ideas? It's usually when things are quiet and you're alone. Find some quiet time to figure out the best way to reduce some of the stress in your life and understand that it's really important to your health. So, what exactly is self-care? It's all about taking good care of you and treating yourself as kindly as you treat others. So why do so many of us put ourselves at the bottom of the list of priorities? Taking care of ourselves should be at the very top of your list, since this allows us to be able to care for others better. It's not selfish to want to feel amazing. When we're at our best, we can give our best and we have more to give. Something as simple as taking a class or enjoying a little quiet time a few times a week may be all that you need. Find what you enjoy doing and what recharges you. How can you fit this into your schedule? Maybe for now, it's only 30 minutes twice a week, but that's a start. So I've come up with 22 ways to take care of you. Check the ones that appeal to you and that you feel you can start with. There's more on the next page. So 1, get enough sleep. 2, take the time to prioritize your day each morning. What are the top 2 to 3 things you want to get done today? 3, remember to schedule things as evenly as possible throughout the week. Don't cram too much into your days. 4, reduce the time on your computer and television. 5, take deep breaths during the day. 6, eat more slowly. 7, connect with family or friends. 8, take vacations or staycations. 9, don't be afraid to ask for help. 10, make time for yourself. 11, read a book or watch a movie. 12, exercise. 13, speak to yourself more kindly. 14, listen to music. 15, open your windows and blinds during the day, let in the fresh air and the sunshine. 16, keep a journal. 17, remember your goals and your aspirations. 18, enjoy a hot bath. 19, meditate and do some yoga. 20, get a massage or a facial. 21, go on a walk in nature. 22, focus on the positive. So this week's to-dos is list all your commitments and responsibilities and figure out your biggest causes of stress. Look at ways how you can reduce it. Also, evaluate your schedule and see where changes can be made to make things less hectic. Make sleep a priority this week and be sure that you get the amount you need as often as possible. And then take a look back at the list, hopefully you took some notes, of the 22 ideas for self-care so you can reduce stress and take care of you. And what's 3 to 5 things that you'll start with? Thanks so much for tuning in with today's episode. I'm Rachel. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Peace.